Hello, hello, hello. I am making a video and it's a beautiful day today, absolutely gorgeous. It's warm and I sit here with sweatpants but no socks with Croc shoes. Yay! I have my yellow Croc shoes on. And I took a shower. I am refreshed. My back is healing up. This is all good. This is very nice. And I have my sewing equipment here. And every day at this house, I'm sewing because I have nothing else to do. We don't have internet here, which is good. We get something done here with the garden and the house. But we are not sure whether we're going to sell this house. Actually, we might hold on to it for another 3 years. So, I don't know. So, it all depends on the taxes, and I'm not going to pay $50,000 in capital gains tax to the Biden mafia. It's not going to happen. So, I'd rather hang on to the property and then even pay, the very high property tax and all of that. But that doesn't compare to the $50,000 capital gains tax. I mean, that's like paying property tax for the next 50 or 60 years. So that's ridiculous. No, actually, we pay more in property tax. Be property tax for the next 25 years, and we're definitely not gonna stay that long. So, but yeah, we're gonna have to sell the other house where we have the internet, and that is also a very inconvenient place, and there's violent people now and a lot of homeless people and a lot of drug addicts at that other place, so in that area, and they litter and it's not fun. And then the front yard, it goes out to the street, and the trash from other people come into the front yard, and I have such OCD with this that I have to make Paul pick that up with a picker. That's not nice. So, yeah, the other house is not that luxurious. So it's a very small house. It's a one-person kitchen, and yeah, it's uncomfortable. And a very small backyard, and the hedges have encroached, but that's good because that gives us more of a buffer towards the neighbors, and they have grown up, and we have privacy now in the backyard, which we didn't have when we first bought the house in, I think it was July 2006 or something like that. So, yeah, that was a long time ago now. So now it's time to sell the other house. I can't say where it is, of course, but I love both houses. I love the other house too. We made it really nice. We transformed this into a paradise as well. But we don't have enough space there, so this has much more space here for us with all of our spatial needs that we have. But I already told Paul, do not bring all of that stuff back into this house. Now that we cleaned this house all up, we were getting it ready to sell, and as you can see, it has been cleared out except for a lot of storage containers, but it has been cleared out pretty much. I'm going to put one of the couches back under the artwork. And I'm gonna have to leave this probably for him over there. We'll see. And then he can sit either on the couch or on that chair, and the baby dog can sit on the couch as well, or on this here. This is baby dog's chair, and this has become very, very nice. This exercise machine, all it does is it takes up space. That's all it does, and nothing else. I mean, it's like very inconvenient. So I don't like that. I don't like people that hoard items and just clutter up the space with stuff like that. And upstairs, that's even more intense. He had to buy an upside down table. I was very upset about this. I told my mother about this. When was that? 10 years ago or so. I said, you can't believe, I said to my mother, now he even bought an upside down table. And she had to laugh and said, what is that? Well, that's a humongous piece of furniture where you get in, and then it holds your feet in place, and then it pivots upside down, and then your whole body is hanging upside down, and that's supposed to stretch out your spinal cord. And we used it like 2 or 3 times. That's it. And then it just takes up space. And it's so heavy that I cannot. There's no way I can bring this back down. No freaking way. No way. I've already hurt myself helping Paul transport things upstairs. He has this real heavy king-size bed. And I think it was when we carried up the mattress. And he has muscular dystrophy in his hands, so I had to use a lot of force helping him lift that king-size mattress up, which is a memory foam mattress, all the way up the stairs. And then I could already tell that right here, the carpal tunnel, I think it was on the upper side like this. The carpal tunnel was overstressed, okay? And the next day, I could not even move a finger, because moving even a finger would cause such an intense pain in here that I couldn't move my arm for 1 month. I didn't go to the doctor because that wouldn't help me very much, so the only thing that helped was giving my arm a complete break for 1 month, and then it healed up by itself. So that was before I knew about bentonite clay. So if you put bentonite clay on it and maybe you bandage it up with some scars or something, and just to remind you not to use the arm, then that would probably speed up the healing process by 50%, I can imagine. Because that's also what the Aborigines people used in Australia. The people that are complete nature people in Australia, that will go out there and that follow into the footsteps of their ancestors. And when they go out to the outskirts, where the desert begins, they take all of their clothes off, their money, their purses, their watches, and which is not good. They bury that into the ground, which is not good. It would be better if they just left it there for homeless people to take it, because that's just littering. But they take everything off and they go naked, or maybe they just have like very, very, very sparse body cover, and they go out there into the desert. And there was a doctor from the United States who went with them in order to learn from them holistic healing, and she wrote a book about this. That was one of the most interesting books I have ever read. I see an 8 on the side, the infinity sign. Oh my gosh, this is so nice. Oh, blue God. That's incredible. A tree formed branches that are shaping exactly the infinity sign. The 8 on the side. I've never seen this before. Now that is really, really amazing. Look at that. That is amazing, is that? Oh, blue God. Thank you. That's a sign from the blue God who says, I'm always watching you, and I'm always looking after you and always protecting you. And the 8 on the side is a little bit like goggles. Like that. So, yes, that's what the blue God is doing. Protecting us with these symbols. But not just with symbols, of course. With my artwork, the blue sky, and wherever I am in this world, wherever I go, the blue God is always there, always present, always inside of my whole system and outside and everywhere, into infinity. And that is nice. That's wonderful. And my artwork is also really, really gorgeous. I absolutely love looking at my artwork. That is so nice. And there is the blue God in green. Oh yeah. Kenny Redwood. Yeah, I'm becoming more and more weird. It's okay. The other day, I was waiting in the van for Paul. I always do that when he goes shopping. One has to stay in the van with the baby dog because we're overprotective dog parents, and that's wonderful and good, and that's not crazy, and that's not weird. Some people might think it's weird, but it's not. That's infinity. That's the infinite cosmos energy, the blue God energy. That's truth. And truth is compassion. Truth is love, real love. So that's why I know there are some things that we're doing right and that are good, but I also have mental illness, of course, and my mental illness is always a bit on the clean, hippie, quirky side. So at least clean. So that's a good part. So the neighbor saw Paul in the store and talked to him, and then he came out there to the parking lot and talked to me, and I didn't even recognize him because my eyesight's not very good, and when I talk to him over the fence, I can't see his face very well because I'm quite nearsighted. But I don't wear glasses at home. So I had to tell him, I'm sorry, I didn't even recognize you, and I blasted all out, whatever is in my brain, I blasted out, and sometimes that might come across as weird or might even hurt someone's feelings, which is really bad because I really don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And then I even, on top of all of that, I even said, I was waving to this dog that was driving by, because that's what I always do. I do this as a form of protecting the dog. When I see a dog, I always do this here. And he probably thought at this point, yeah, now that is that's quite unusual and weird, but it's still in tune with love because it comes from love. It comes from wanting to protect, and that is good. It's just not good when it becomes like an obsessive, compulsive type of. And it these kind of things, they very gradually fade over into OCD. It's a very, very you don't know where the prayer begins and the OCD ends. So it's like a big mishmash of OCD and prayer and blessings and blessing rituals and so on. But yeah, I like to share stuff with people because I think it's important that we share how we feel. And when I said something weird to someone, then I can already tell in their facial expression that they don't quite understand. And in order to not make them feel bad, I share even more, because then that might even be worse. But from my personal angle of perspective, I think that it will help them it will help them understand me better, understand where I'm coming from. But I do what I can to share more in order to make people feel more welcomed and feel like I feel safe enough with them to share these kind of things. So when I like someone, I share more. When I don't like someone, when I don't feel comfortable or safe with someone, and that's always why I don't like someone, it would be always because I don't feel safe with that person. It's not because I don't like their appearance. Okay, this is what I observed in people a whole lot. This is a universal mental illness in the human species. They think that when someone doesn't trust them or doesn't like them or doesn't want to share or with something with them or want to walk away, then they feel rejected, and they feel rejected only because of they think they're not socially acceptable enough. They think they're ugly. They think they're rejected because they don't have good enough clothes on or whatever, or they're not cool enough in their appearance. That's also why a lot of people have tattoos. They all think that if I just have a tattoo, then I will look more cool. But it doesn't work that way. First of all, it doesn't work that way at all when everyone else has a tattoo as well, I mean, when most people have tattoos, then how is that even standing out in any way? So, but they want to be accepted by certain social groups, Women too have tattoos, so I don't get it, I've seen women with tattoos all the way up to their shoulder, from the hand to the shoulder. What's up with that, Why do they do this? Some of them have tattoos on the neck even. Why do you do this to yourself? Why do you put this uniqueness, which, then if a lot of other people have it, or then certain demographics have it much more than others, like drug addict type of people have it, then I don't understand how that can make someone feel special or more cool. Because drug addict type of people, I don't find that cool when someone is a drug addict or an alcoholic, right? Or some kind of like a dirty hippie, as I call him. I'm a hippie too, but I don't do any of these things. So that's why I call myself a clean hippie. Artists, totally independent artists, like outsider artists. There's a bunch of outsider artists that come from psychiatric places and different places around the world. There are some in Japan as well. So in Japan, these people are really, really excluded from their society. And they probably suffer a great deal of loneliness. But then once they're discovered by the artist community worldwide, then they get friends that way, and recognition for their art. And then they don't feel so abandoned. Then they don't feel so rejected by society anymore, because they see, oh, there are people in this world that have an eye for art and that understand that this is interesting and this is quirky and it's beautiful, like the polka dot lady, I forgot her name, from Japan. Wonderful, it's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And that's passionate, and she lives for this, She creates her own world, as I create my own world with my artwork. And that's wonderful to do. That's not crazy. It's a wonderful thing. It's also a self-protection thing, We live in a really crazy world. We live in a world that I really call crazy. I call most people crazy. And those are the ones that call me crazy. The ones I call crazy. So that's how it goes. Yeah. I would never call the polka dot lady artist crazy, because to me that's not crazy. To me that's wonderful. It's creative. She creates her own safe world. And I don't even call the outsider artists, the other outsider artists like Adolf Wölfli from Germany, I don't even call him crazy, even though I think he's living in a psychiatric hospital his whole life. And even though he paints swastikas and different things, but those are the symbols that he has grown up with. And I don't know if he's still alive. He must be very old now. So, having been bombarded with these society symbols that are either like taboo or not taboo, or acceptable or not acceptable. And that's why Jonathan Mese, who is not regarded as an outsider artist because he is very much friends with many other artists that are among the top 100 artists, recognized artists worldwide. He is in Berlin and he is partying with the other artists, and he is very sociable, and he's extremely intelligent and philosophical, and he gives speeches. He's my absolute favorite philosopher of current times. So Jonathan Mese, amazing guy. And he's an artist also. And his art is very, very childlike in a good way, very emotional expressions. It's a complete, like the right hemisphere expression, a complete heart expression, a complete solar plexus expression, as they say, a belly type of feeling, like that's how he paints. That's how I used to paint when I was a child. He can also draw very accurately, but that's not what he wants to do. He wants to use art as an emotional expression, and also an expression that helps him express to the world the importance of that what he has to say philosophically. as well, and that often has some very intense emotions behind it, and also the message that he has. The message is, you have given us all of these symbols, and you make some symbols taboo, like the swastika, for example. But that's why he puts the swastika into every single one of his paintings, in order to loosen up the stigmatization of that symbol. So he wants people to loosen up. That's what really his intention is about it. He says Adolf Hitler is a toy for him, okay, like a little wobblehead toy or some kind of Barbie doll or something. So, and he plays with all of these things. He has toy guns. He says he doesn't like real guns. He wants everything just play items. We play with it, and we show the public you can do the same. So loosen up with your warmongering and your ego and self-importance ideas and act outs, particularly. Jonathan Mese is one of these people. He can put his hand on a book and the whole book goes into his head. It's the truth. He said that, but most people don't believe it, of course. They laugh everything off, almost everything. They don't even hear the philosophical part of what he has to say, because they put all of that into the drawer of crazy artists, and that's it. They don't even listen to him. But he has a lot to say to the world. But because he obviously doesn't have this ego, he doesn't have these identifications and the self-importance that most people have, this idea of self-importance, or this need to identify themselves with a nation or with a military or with a side or whatever side. It could be a religion, a cult, or a sports team. People have this need to identify themselves with something, and then they become fanatic, and they become like, this is mine, me, I am whatever, I am this particular soccer team or whatever, this is my identity or something. That's a big mistake, to live their lives like this. And Jonathan Mese is trying to loosen people up and trying to bring this across in many different forms, in art form, in spoken form, in art performance form, where he dresses up and he does quirky stuff with other artists together on stage. Quirky stuff that tells the public, my goodness, you gotta relax with your male image, this male importance and all of that. He himself, he's a fully straight man, and on stage he dresses up in women's clothes, and he has long gray hair, because he wants people to loosen up. This male identification and all of that is what causes wars in the world. The people need to loosen up, and if they loosened up and if they stopped worrying about what other people think of them and whether they're going to be accepted in this or that group or cult or gang or society, all of that doesn't matter. It does not matter. And even if people loosened up and lost their friends, if you loosen up and your friends become mean to you, then they're not your friends. Okay, that should be said very, very loud and clear. Okay, I can only be with people, I can only hang out with people who accept me 100%. Okay? With all of my insanity, my OCD rituals. Yes, I have mental illness and I suffer from that. And it's not ideal. I have all kinds of bad emotions, sometimes rage or jealousy. These are not pleasant emotions. Those are shunned by society, and I understand why, of course, But we can't just shun that away, okay? What you have in your mental state, you cannot just sweep it under the rug and say, now I am free of it. No, it's still there, obviously. It's still in your head. It's still in the brain. It's still doing stuff there. It causes you nightmares, it causes you to brood over things. Or they call it ruminating, So it's like it keeps coming up again, and then we have to churn this through again, and yeah, it is what it is. Sit with it and let it churn through. Okay. Don't act it out. Okay. Making videos hating narcissists. That in itself is a narcissistic act out. Okay. I hope that makes a lot of sense, because it's the people that cry about narcissists the most that are narcissists themselves. Okay. Just as with so many other things, yeah. Gay Christians hate gay people. But they themselves, they don't even want to admit that to themselves. Okay, so these are repressed emotions, okay, that are cooking up a storm in people's brains and occupying people's brains to the point where they can't even go out. They can't even socialize in a relaxed way with other people. They have to be all uptight with things, and they're mean. I've seen Baptist women, a mother and her daughter. They all seem enormously masculine. I saw that in a YouTube video, and they were ranting and ranting against anyone who's gay. Against gay women particularly, because that's what they are, okay? But they are Baptists, so they can't allow themselves to admit that even to themselves. They can't even think it, so they passionately hate gay people, and they want to destroy them, and they want to cause them problems, and particularly if they are attracted to someone, like that fat mother there, that real masculine looking mother. If she's attracted to like a co-worker lady, then that would make her even more mad. That because she feels it, if she feels it coming up, that need for that other woman, and then she has to repress it even more, and the way she represses it is by hating that woman and by going against her and so on. So this is going on with all kinds of things. An aggressive person like myself, I hate aggressive people, I see violent people, I want them to be exterminated. Why? Because I have violence inside of me. That's why. But I am very well aware of it, and I am not acting it out. What happens is, I don't even have any need to be violent against anyone, unless they are coming at me, then that would be an act of self-defense. and I wouldn't hesitate for a second to become violent with someone who threatens my family and me. So particularly someone who would hurt my dog, I would completely go berserk on that person. And so, but yeah, it has this, yeah, it has this relation that is playing a huge role. For me, I'm more consciously aware, so this is not something that is brooding in the unconscious. This is it's very much in the upper consciousness, and I am on the healing path, and I'm sitting with that on this chair. I used to be in primal therapy, where people are encouraged when they have rage to go for the padded wall. And I went for the padded wall hugely. I mean, it would be Medusa screams and unbelievable sideways running against the padded wall. Obviously, I can't go frontally, that would hurt my breasts. So I have to go like slam myself sideways against it real hard, with my elbow, or even backwards with my head even bouncing against it real hard. I would get a concussion if that was not padded. That's why they even had a triple padded rug in there in the Primal Center. So, which I liked a whole lot, I was very impressed with that. Sort of like a padded room in an insane asylum. But in the insane asylum, they don't do the right therapy with those people. They kind of ban them into that. And then they go berserk in there in a random way. And nobody's really helping them. And listening, that's really the key, like listening. Not gaslighting, not saying, oh, jealousy is bad, or whatever, like, no, the person's jealous, you're jealous in that moment, okay? I can't talk that out of you, but what I can do is I can sit with you and I can understand you 100% how you feel, okay? And that's the approach. That is the key approach. That's also what the Primal Center practice. That is the main teaching of Dr. Arthur Janov, is to really hear and feel that person, okay? And not judge, and let that person feel it, okay? The anger, and he even said himself that he had one client, a man who was constantly raging against the wall, also in private sessions in the past, in the 70s and 80s, and when he was giving that, when Arjanov himself was still practicing as a therapist at the center, and the guy would continue to this, and so Arjanov said at some point, this then at some point becomes an act out. It becomes like something that avoids the feeling that's underneath the anger, underneath the rage. In some people, they are so bottled up with anger that they have to be allowed to do this. That has to be steamed out, okay? But it is absolutely vitally important that after they steam that out, that they get to the feeling that is underneath the rage, which is always total despair. Okay, so total despair and being on the very bottom, the feeling of total helplessness. That's why Esther Hicks on her scale she has anger right on one level above total despair, but these are all rock bottom emotions, emotional states, of course. So, but it has to be raged out with some people. But if someone just comes in there and just only deals with it, at some point they have to be informed that this might have become now an act out, because the person just doesn't want to face the feelings underneath, which feel much worse, of course, than the hate and the rage and the murderous red blood rage and all of that. That always feels a little notch better than the total devastation, the total despair. But yeah, Arjanov understood that very well too, that we have to address the feelings that are underneath. So you have to get to that at some point and allow yourself to get to it. Thich Nhat Hanh said that he thinks it is not good to rage it out on the padded wall. For some people, they're so bottled up that I think that they have to, but then the therapist should help and not let this patient do this in every session. They can do this in one session, in the first session, or maybe the second, or whatever, whenever this really wants to come out, but then bring them back to what is underneath, which is the total despair. And that it's the total despair that we cannot bypass. You can't just skip something like this, like total despair, or feeling suicidal, or feeling like a loser, or feeling like, the other person is more beautiful, or whatever, or my mother doesn't love me, and she will never love me. It's this total despair. It's like, it feels like the end of the world. And so we have no other choice. We have absolutely no other choice other than to go through this awareness of this mental state and allow that mental state as we are going into what I call the ego dissolution funnel. Okay, so the ego dissolution funnel, I wished I had a chalkboard now behind me or on this wall, but I don't. That's why I made this one painting, actually, that I have made a video with in the past. But the actual symbolic expression of this ego dissolution funnel is actually on the back of that cardboard box. So the painting is on the front, which shows a person falling and then hanging in the tree. So, but on the back of that very cardboard box, I have explained with words and with more symbolic graphs on how this actually works. So the ego dissolution funnel is actually has a shape similar to a funnel. You know how a funnel looks like. It fans out on the top, very, very, very wide, and then the person. This is just a metaphor, of course, for the mental state. You are somewhere in the outskirts of that funnel top, okay? And you are mentally, okay? You're somewhere on the outside. Some people are very far away and above and running away fast. So they don't even want to come anywhere near that funnel, right? Because they know they're going to get sucked into it, and then they're going to have to feel this despair. So my brother, perfect example, he does not want to feel this total despair. He has become a drug addict, which is his act out of getting away from the total despair. Okay, and somehow he thinks that he does not understand that that's killer. Okay. That the lifestyle with the drugs, the running away from the total despair through drugs, is a slow suicide. Okay, he doesn't understand it. Okay, and it can cause him all kinds of problems. It can cause him being tortured. It can cause him to meet the wrong people and I don't even want to think about it. I warned him. He doesn't listen to me because one day he was crushed by what I said to him. I threw the truth bomb on him. I said, let's face it, face it now, okay? And I laid it all out on Facebook in private chat to him. I told him exactly in detail what it is. His girlfriend is only after the money. She's much younger than him. She has a husband. He told me all of these things already, right? I'm just connecting the dots. That's all I'm doing. Her husband's probably a Muslim, and she is his slave, okay? And she'll do whatever he wants. And she's not a good person, obviously, because a good person would never accept something like this. So she is literally catfishing in person, okay, in bars and stuff like this. Oh, what do they find? They find a complete treasure chest in my brother, who brags about to everyone how much money his parents have and how much he's gonna inherit. He brags, right? Doesn't understand. Is naive. Doesn't see that someone who is a scam artist will see that as their opportunity, right? So he sends her to my brother and he pimps her to my brother, okay, for free, because of course they want the money. So she grooms him for years, until he will sign the inheritance over into his name, and then I talked about this many times. I'm just using this now as an example. I still cry about this sometimes. It's very, very, very sad. But it is what it is. I'm healing my way through this, right? I have absolutely this train has passed. Okay, he is getting the money. He lives there, so he's taking care of that there. Okay, I tried to get help from a lawyer. The lawyer didn't help me. And that was the only lawyer that even was willing to write to me. The other ones didn't even want to get involved at all. I even contacted the police department. They threatened me if I contact them again that they will file some kind of warrant against me, which is not going to work because I'm like very far away, halfway around the globe. So they're not going to get anywhere with that. But I should have just doubled it down and just kept sending that lady one or 10 emails per day, right? Just out of spite. But I was afraid. I don't know what they might do. They might even get me extradited back to Germany. I'm not going to take any chances with something like that. Okay, that's not going to happen. But this unprofessional, hostile email that she wrote me has nothing to do with how the police department used to be in the past. They used to be professional. They used to be not emotionally invested in something, and I don't even know if this actually was the police department. That could have been my brother's girlfriend who wrote that. But it was that a response to my email to the police department. So it must have been the police department. But the lady went to my brother and my dad and interrogated them, because that's what I wanted them to do. I wanted them to look after my dad, because I said, I believe my dad is at risk of being murdered, okay? And I believe that my mother was murdered by my brother. And my brother, though, is a master manipulator, just like Chris Cuomo is, but probably even more believable. Probably, I don't know, he must put all of his IQ funneled only into this, right? Into tricking people. Like, that's narcissism to the absolute extreme. That's psychopathy and sociopathy and Machiavellianism, all four of these in one. Okay, total cluster B. This is, and mainly caused by the drugs, was in his case. Because I have seen him also with more tender emotions in the past. I know this because I grew up with him, so I've seen him with more tender emotions. I have seen him also in total fear of devastating emotions. And what he said to me is like, I cannot do what you do, like totally unhook myself from society and from social acceptance, and I don't know how you do it. I can't do it, he said. And you do it when you really understand the importance of it. Then you have to do it. You have no other choice. When you see it, as Jiddu Krishnamurti said, when you really see it, and this is not some kind of I'm becoming a yogi or bullshit or something. No, this is vitally important life path, okay, for every single person. That's why we have wars, because of this. Always loops back to that subject. Okay, that's why we have wars. That's why we have greed, and that's why we have human trafficking and all of these things, and organ harvesting, all of these insane atrocities like pigs in gestation crates. That's why we have all of this, because of extreme cluster B mental illness, which is the worst mental illness. I group this all in one. This is the worst mental illness there is. Okay, is cluster B mental illness, and they're just different extreme levels of it and different areas of it, different forms, okay? But it's cluster B mental illness. That's capital criminality, okay? Or Joe Biden and his son. Yeah, this is extreme cluster B, okay? It's mafia level cluster B. Joe Biden and his son, they're traitors to the United States, okay? My brother is a traitor to me, okay? It is what it is. I can never hang out with my brother again. Never. Never. I can never hang out with my dad either, because my dad also betrayed me. My dad prefers to be in denial about the situation rather than, and he prefers to be in denial, and that feels better to him, rather than standing up for me and listening to me and looking at the whole picture from above and doing something and granting me my 50% of the inheritance, which I need, okay? I needed the $3 million or whatever comes out of it, or 4 million. I need it. We need this. We need that money, okay? We have plans. We want to move to the desert. We want to rescue animals, okay? I need that. But I didn't even bother to tell my brother when he said to me, what do you even need the money for? You don't even have to prove anything to society. So what do you need the money for, right? You don't need to get a suit tailored in England, in London, by a tailor couturier that costs him $50,000. No, you don't need that. You don't need it. So why do you need the money then? Here in the video, I can clearly say it. Why I need the money? We need to buy a big property and rescue animals. Okay? I need the money to do good for the world. There is such thing as doing good for the world with money. Okay? But A lot of people don't seem to understand it because their brains, it's irritating, it makes me very angry, but it is what it is. They are not well. Okay? Their brains are to the brim stuffed full with the self-image and how to protect their self-image and their standing in society and all of that. Okay. So full that there is not a sliver of space in those brains to even look at anything from another perspective and to look at it from the compassion perspective, from kindness, right? They can only see it from this perspective. How to save face, how to stay liked by society. You know, there are people that are like, they're called opportunists, like Chris Cuomo, perfect example of that. You know, who he sees, oh, the tide is turning. People are liking Donald Trump now? No, okay. Now they're not liking him now? Oh boy, now he's gonna do some adjustments in his life. Not because he wants to, not because he sees that it's better to be compassionate. It's better to let off with, with the macho behavior and to be the stallion in the bar and all of that. Let off. No, that's not why. He switches his behavior in order to be liked. In order to be liked by Tucker and by everyone in the United States and beyond. So I see through this, and other people see through this, and I saw comments of people that said, not even Tucker can convince me that Chris Cuomo is okay now. So, and I gave a thumbs up on that comment because that's spot on. It hits the nail on the head. Okay, that is exactly what it is. I cannot believe it either. In the beginning, I caught myself because I'm sexually attracted to that Chris Cuomo, which is extremely, it's embarrassing and it's just wrong, okay? But it is what it is. I can't repress that. It's just as other people here who hate someone because they're attracted to them. I can't do that either. I hate that guy because I'm attracted to him. No, I also hate that guy because he's a complete con artist. Okay. And he's a Machiavellian just like my brother. Yeah. But my brother is even more convincing. He convinces people, he raps, that's why I didn't even write to this woman lawyer in Germany. Because I saw a photo, I know exactly what my brother will do. That's easy pickings for my brother. I take a woman lawyer, middle-aged woman lawyer, and she has high credentials, everything would have been great, but woman lawyer, good looking, I know exactly what my brother would do, immediately. He would talk to her and slime his way into her brain. And talk her and groom her, groom her into believing him and make her not believe me and roll the entire mental illness thing, the entire mental illness history, okay? Roll this all up. See, here's what is so upsetting for me in society. The worst mentally ill people are the cluster Bs, but they are good at chameleoning themselves. They are very good at sliming themselves onto other people so that other people think they are well and the other person is not well because the other person makes crazy artwork. So that's why the other person is not well. Or the other person has a haircut that is not acceptable by society, okay? So that's why I don't trust her with that Sumerian or Anunnaki haircut. That I cannot. That's impossible. But I will trust the Machiavellian because he said nice things to me. Okay? And that's how most people are. I'm sorry I have to lay it out here. Okay? This is what it is. And it has to be talked about. People need to understand this now. Understand society, understand your own way of thinking, understand your gullibility, your need for social acceptance, your need for a good-looking Chris Cuomo to convince you that the other person is wrong and he is right, So and Chris Cuomo would do exactly the same thing as my brother did, okay, 100%, but on a larger scale, on a national scale, okay. Chris Cuomo on the national scale will tell you, the public, who to like and who not to like. That's why the corporate agenda hired him, because he was good at it. He was good at it. So they finally kicked him out because I guess he said something that just accidentally was not on their bandwagon or on their agenda. So then they kick him out. Or the public, too many people turned against him. So then CNN doesn't want to be associated with that anymore. Out of mind, out of sight, out of mind, very easily forgotten. That's their tactic. Don't forget these things so easily. That's my imperative to the whole world. Don't forget these things. So everyone is still shitting on Adolf Hitler to this day, Why? Because Adolf Hitler has become your scapegoat. Yeah, I don't like that word. I don't like that term, scapegoat. I don't even want to use these words, because you know what that means. I don't even want to say it. It's so awful. They take one goat as their sacrificial goat, and they sacrifice that goat, whatever, It's horrible, 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 horrible. Don't even want to. That has to be abolished, first of all. Okay, scapegoating animals has to be abolished. So, I have to use a different term for this. So, people are dumping on one person everything. This is a better term. Trash can. Okay, they use Adolf as a trash can so that they can put their trash into it as well. That's what it really is. Okay, and this happens worldwide. Everyone dumps out. Entire Germany is a trash can. Okay, and they never even tried to fix that. The German public. Okay, out of their white guilt and all of that, the Adolf guilt and all of that, we have to be okay with bringing all of these refugees into the country. And now Germany, it has become Sharia law. Yes, that's what they wanted, that's what they got. The Russian mafia actually has said one good thing. They said, the public gets the government they deserve. That is one thing I agree with. Okay, so maybe I'm gonna end it now with this: peace and love. Go into your own mind, go into the ego dissolution funnel, and do your part to make the world better and heal. Okay, we need to heal this world. This world is suffering. Let's heal it.